All right, we're now recording it. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us for the first quarterly meeting of the 2021 school year. A school year unlike any others, or at least the start of a school year like any others. And so we do appreciate everyone joining us either live as well as watching us videotape that will be put up onto our YouTube channel. So today we're going to have Lynn Liu start us off, giving us any updates about financial services. Then we're going to go to Tim Hamill for curriculum, and then Matt Thomas. And then I'm going to be stepping in for technology and infrastructure, and then I'll give kind of an overview of organizational updates. So without further ado, Lynn, what do you have to share with the entire organization that's watching us today?
Well, we're a little busy trying to wrap up the 1920 school year, which was, to say the least, very unique. We're reconciling programs. We have the majority of them done. We are trying to finish at this point the school district coach's speech and Clearview program. So once those are finished, we will only have some itinerant services left to reconcile. But we end up doing kind of year-end reporting across several months. Unfortunately, it does drag out. But it's reporting that we do in e-grants as well as to PDE and other organizations. So it takes several months to get everything finalized. We are starting the process of our annual audit. So Deluzio, our external auditors, will be in soon to work with us, mostly remotely during this COVID situation. And they will be on site only when they need to. But we're starting to get data pulled for them. We also are in the throes of the 2021 school year starting. Lots of different things having to be procured for different areas of the organization. So my staff is busy doing all of that and starting over the new payroll year as well. And then within a couple of months, we'll be starting budgeting. So it feels like I'm in a revolving door at this point of the year, but things are going well considering everything that's been happening. So I want to thank my staff.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much, Lynn. Any questions for Lynn that you might have? Okay, hearing none and seeing none in the chat. Let's move on to curriculum services. So Tim, what do you have for us today?
All right. So as Dr. Conway mentioned, this has been a year like no other, and certainly preparing for this year from our end has been a challenge. We, over the last 3 months, have been trying to anticipate what the needs were going to be as we kicked off this school year, primarily for online learning, knowing that that was going to be a major component of our district's restarting. So we knew that E-Academy would be taxed pretty heavily, but we didn't quite know where that would be. So here today, as we look at where we stand, as of today, we are over 10,000 enrollments, course enrollments, with approximately 2,000 students. To give you perspective on that, typically this time of year, we're more like around 1,000 course enrollments, a little over 1,000 to start the school year, and a fraction of that number of students, maybe 100 to 150 students to kick the year off. So the growth has been exponential, and with that comes a lot of other things like supplying equipment. We had to place an order for a large number of new laptops to accommodate our students who need those types of things. So that required us to get out early and make an order of equipment before the supplies ran out. Thankfully, we've been able to get so far what we need. We have a shipment that has already arrived and one that's due anytime now. So we've been able to keep up with the need. We do have some glitches. We have a couple of things that we're dealing with some outside vendors for our districts. Norwin is one of our biggest customers here in this changeover. So we're trying to resolve some issues for them right now on their behalf with one of the vendors that we're dealing with. But aside from that issue, the team has done a fantastic job of getting everything prepped and ready to go. And I have to give a great big shout out to all of the E-Academy staff, Becky Henderson specifically, who's been leading the charge on that end, Rachel Barner, who has been handling all of the clerk duties and managing all the ins and outs of equipment, and Sue Soltis, who's been taking practically every help desk call in one form or another, trying to help with the customer service end of things. And most certainly the tech staff, who are not part of the curriculum division, but every year at this time, we adopt them because they are so much a part of what we do. We rely on them heavily to make sure that things are working. And their work on our help desk is invaluable. So a great big thank you to all of them for making that effort happen and for keeping us afloat through all of this. So we continue to see enrollments happening. We're not sure where this is going to end yet, but again, it's taxing our division quite a bit. Everybody's stepped up and made it happen. So that's a quick update on where we are with that. A couple of other things that are going on. The curriculum division has signed on with Greensburg-Salem to help rewrite their entire K-8 math curriculum. So we've begun a project with them. We kicked that off with their in-service this year with their elementary staff. So we're helping them revise their entire math curriculum. It's a big job and it's a heavy lift for them. So we're there to help support them, and the team's excited about that work. ESL has been doing some really exciting stuff to try to accommodate the change of instruction in the age of COVID, and working with situations where some students are at home and some students are in person, and some districts are doing things completely different from before. This is requiring some real agile movements on the part of ESL. And one of the things that Joe and Susan have been working on diligently is providing some new types of services and supports for ESL. And this includes things like going in and helping those who don't use our teaching services to be able to work to make sure that all of their programs are being done with fidelity, according to all the laws and regulations that are there. Their expertise serves districts well, and they really have a lot to give in terms of service in that form. So we have had districts ask us for that work, and we're working to support it. We also have another IU, Beaver Valley IU, that has asked us for the same type of support. So ESL is growing amidst all of the changes that we're seeing here in the way we're working now compared to the way we were working a year ago. So thanks to Joe and Susan for all the hard work they've been doing on there, and to their staff, those who are teaching for us this year. We know it's been a challenge for them. Jason Boone has done some great work in bringing the First in Math implementation to our districts through the competition we held last year. First in Math offered a completely free year of usage to our schools, and he's been working to get schools up and running on that. It's a supplemental math component that schools can take advantage of. Nice, exciting development there. We continue to work on implementing our Teacher in the Workplace grant that we received last year. Everything has changed because we can't do what we had initially thought we would do with Teacher in the Workplace. Taking teachers out to the workplace today is not possible the way we once did it. So we have to reinvent ourselves. And a lot of the work we're doing right now is surrounding that. I did want to mention too, the STEM lending library was something very big that we kicked off last year, and unfortunately we've had to curtail the lending of the STEM lending library for the time being, for obvious reasons. We do have a concern for those who handle the equipment and those who share it within our school districts. So we are holding off on any lending going on there. We'll make an announcement when we feel it's safe to do so again, and we'll reopen the library and allow lending to take place again. So just some quick updates from the curriculum division, and great big shout out to the whole team. Thank you everybody for all the hard work you've put in over the last quarter.
All right. Thank you very much, Tim. All right, let's go to Matt. Matt Thomas, what do you have from Student Services?
Well, certainly lots of things happening in the Student Services division. there are so many things happening that I don't think that I could point out any one person for that process. And I work on a very skilled supervisory team that I'm proud to be a part of and lead. And so I offer my thanks to all of our supervisors, our teachers, our secretaries, our speech language pathologists and other therapists involved. Everyone is doing a tremendous amount of lean in and thinking critically on all the things that are happening right now as we have opened the new school year. So here are a few highlights. So we opened our school age programs on August 26th. This is at all of our sites that we offer. In school age, we operate the Clearview School. There are 87 students that started the year with us, many of which are in person. We were intrigued to see how many students were physically on site with very few virtual connections over the course of those classrooms. We operate that facility 4 days a week in person and 1 day a week virtually. So Wednesday is our virtual day today. And when we offer that offsite, it allows our awesome IT infrastructure staff and maintenance staff to clean the building with a deep clean each Wednesday, as well as at the end of the week on Saturday after the week is concluded. At our Greensburg partial site, we've again operated in person. We had a couple bumps at the beginning just because of some internet outages. A lot of the virtual learning that's happening is taking on a lot more bandwidth load. I said that backwards. And what's interesting is that the partial site gave us an opportunity to upgrade our business internet presence at that site. So thank you to Eric Vaughn and his team for facilitating that week. We have now actually have 2 separate internet connections to that building, one for the Centerville Clinic staff, as well as one for our own staff, so that we can keep the traffic separated in high speed for our students' learning purposes. Bell Vernon teachers are still providing learning support classrooms, 4 of them, at Bell Vernon area high school, as well as both Ross Traver Elementary and Marion Elementary. And so they are following BVA protocols with online learning and such. We were able to make significant upgrades at the detention center and the youth shelter to the physical plant. So on order right now are new desks and chairs for the staff. We have built a partnership with IU2. So if you're not familiar with what IU2 does, IU2 is the Pittsburgh/Mount Oliver Intermediate Unit, which is contained within the Pittsburgh Public Schools. And they, on our behalf, facilitate Title I Part D, which is the delinquent and neglected youth area on those funds. So we're looking to upgrade again all of the student devices at both the homeless shelter as well as the detention center. That's my phone, by the way. I apologize, it's ringing here. So what's interesting is that as a part of the Chromebooks that will be influxed into this area, we will just have even enhanced connections to software such as Edgenuity, and we will be using at that site. We'll also be using BoardWorks at that site too. When I look across the other side of our program, I do want to highlight early intervention. Early intervention started on August 31st, Monday, August 31st, 2020. And as a part of that, we are operating 10 physical classrooms in person, giving students and parents and families opportunity to zoom in virtually into those classrooms as needed. We are, again, seeing a lot of engagement in an in-person setting. And those classrooms are situated, there are 3 classrooms at Clearview, 4 classrooms at Jeanette McKee Middle School, or the basement in the Young Learners Center. We have a classroom at West Newton Elementary in the Yawk School District, a classroom at Kiski Area Upper Elementary School in the Kiski Area School District, and a classroom in the Greater Latrobe School District at Latrobe Elementary School. Itinerant teachers are still providing services, and itinerant speech language staff members, speech language pathologists, are also providing services, although across the county, it depends on the context. Most of those services are being provided virtually, with areas that at times they are making decisions on whether to enter preschools and provide those services in real time, in real person. So all of that said, think of the number of people in the Student Services Division. We are over 200 people strong, and all of the people have to be engaged and understand PPE, new equipment, new protocols, and there's a lot of brain and hands-on thinking happening all of the time of people working in brand new scenarios and thinking through how to triage problems and solve them very quickly. I'd also like to shift to a couple highlights of our division in the past few months. So first of all, as a result of a recent staffing change, the Norwood School District is now partnering with the Westmoreland Intermediate Unit as a vision services client. So children in the Norwood School District that are receiving vision services as well as orientation mobility services are now working in partnership with our itinerant services team, which was a net add for us in terms of our service scope. We received a middle school success pathways to graduation grant of $7,000, which we will be helping to build in multiple schools, particularly the Hempfield Area School District. We also earned an MTSS grant through Patton, Pittsburgh, which is approximately $20,000 over a 2-year period that will be coming directly into the Hempfield Area School District. Amanda Winor and her team in itinerant services built a 3-year partnership with Patton, the Pennsylvania Technical and Training Assistance Network, for a deaf-blind resource team. So IU7 will be the lead for Western Pennsylvania, on our specific area, I should say, Western Pennsylvania, on a deaf-blind resource team of highly skilled, but yet low incidence opportunities for deaf-blind children in Western Pennsylvania. And that is $20,000 per year times 3 years of investment into the grant. And finally, we've written 2 more grants that we haven't heard back on. One is the Telepresence Robotics grant, which is offered through Patton. We're hoping to create a lending library of telepresence robots on behalf of the IU programs, as well as the schools in our catchment area, which are 17 school districts. And finally, we wrote a grant related to transition. This was coming out of our work discovery program for what we call a PAYS lab. It's a transition skills lab we hope to host as a regional resource at our Clairview School if we are so funded. So we've had a lot of grant activity, even though we've been planning a new school year with health and safety plans, transportation protocols, and so many things happening at such a short amount of time to come back and open our schools as normal as we possibly can. And I think that wraps up student services.
All right. Any questions for Dr. Thomas from the very large number of people joining us today? Okay, hearing none and seeing none in the chats. All right. For technology and infrastructure, unfortunately, Eric wasn't able to join us this afternoon, but I know that he and his team have been working very hard on further integration of the Microsoft Teams application throughout the organization. They're now working towards that when you make a phone call from Teams, it's going to reflect the IU main number. I know that that is a slow process that they're going through, but they've put in a lot of hours in dealing with that. Also, Eric and his team continue to work very hard in securing all of the technology that has been requested and needed to open up the school year. Thanks to their aggressiveness very early in the shutdown, we were very well set to open up the year with everyone getting laptops and screens and cameras and things like that. I know I had 1 or 2 staff members say to me it was like Christmas coming to get all these new items that they were able to use. And without Eric's leadership, that wouldn't have happened, as well as the rest of the team and how we work together to identify what those needs were, and no matter what we're going to be facing over the next few months when it comes to COVID and shutdowns or openings and things like that. Trying to think if there's anything else from technology that we wanted to share. I know that with the number of grants that we've secured, one being an R.K. Mellon Foundation grant that's, Matt, was that about $250,000, I believe, for that one there?
R.K. Mellon was 200.
200,000, and giving support for early intervention students up through middle school with access to MiFis as well as other technology to connect to the internet. I know that that's something that Eric continues to work on and his team. So we do want to reiterate that anytime that you do need help or support, we do ask that you use that help desk email address to submit all needs. That way we can keep track of what the needs are and the amount of time it's taking to satisfy those needs. So it's very, very important that you continue to use that help desk email that we have been promoting over the last year or two. From an executive director's executive services standpoint, first I want to thank everyone for the past few months of all of the hard work that has gone into, number one, reacting to the pandemic, and then all of the time that was utilized to plan for the opening of this school year. You know, when March 13th hit, we spent months just reacting, and then we continued to react throughout the summer with the shifting of the sand beneath our feet, known as guidance from our leadership at the state level. And as we were reacting to that, we also had to then plan for the opening of the school year. And it is amazing to sit back and look at all 5 divisions working together and solving problems. And knock on wood, I believe that we truly did open the school year without a hitch. No one was without protective personal equipment. No one was without the technology that was needed. No one started the year without a clear path of what school's going to look like if we are remote, if we are hybrid, or if we are totally in person. And that truly took a team effort from all 5 divisions and each and every one of the individuals in those divisions. So I can't thank you enough on behalf of the board and me for all of that time. And I know people have worked to the 11th hour, the 12th hour, the 13th hour of days just to get kids, let's say, entered into courses so they could take courses to start the school year for another school district. And so that does not go unnoticed for sure, the amount of time that everyone is putting in. And I do truly believe that the equity in this IU from our 17 member districts, our non-public schools, as well as our charter schools, if we were on the stock market, our value would be way up as compared to where we were 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 12 months ago, 9 months ago. They truly have relied on us to be part of their solutions, and our value has gone up tremendously. So we have to capture that. We have to capitalize on that and continue to push the envelope of how can we further be supportive of our districts, that we do become the only game in town when it comes to where do we go for solutions. And I think we're doing a great job with that. Going into more of the other items that I wanted to share, just as a reminder that if you happen to be exposed yourself or exposed to someone who is positive or presumptive with COVID, it is very important that you report that to Cindy Camione, either giving her a call and or filling out that form. Every so often, I'm going to be sending out that link to that form just to kind of remind people. But it's very, very important that we collect that data. So then when we call the Department of Health, we can get the best guidance possible. So we've had a few calls over the last couple of weeks, and the system seems to be working very well. So again, if you do get exposed or exposed to someone that is positive or presumptive, please make sure that you report that, and then we can make sure that we protect everyone by gathering the guidance that we need. Today is actually the first official day that we are open to the public in terms of the administration building. We did not have a ribbon cutting ceremony, nor did we have balloons set off at 7:30 when we opened up the building. It was more of a soft, on a need to know basis that we're open to the public. We are encouraging, though, that anyone that does visit the admin building that is not assigned to the admin building to please make appointments with folks, so that way people know that you are coming to visit them for either a payroll issue or an HR or coming to visit for whatever reason. We want to steer away from drop-ins like we do our in-laws. So anytime we can steer clear of drop-ins, that's the best. We're not planning on a public commercial about us being open to the public. But we are slowly but surely now going to be allowing people to come in to get their fingerprints done. Of course, we want to make sure that we serve our own first in terms of IU employees. And then slowly we will be opening up to the general public that need fingerprinting. But again, that's very small since it's really just in the education sector that we are doing fingerprints for. At this point in time, we are not going to be holding large gatherings here at the IU, for instance, workshops or courses and things like that. Since we are still in the moderate status, we're going to continue with not having any workshops or courses that are going to be hosted here at this point in time. That also includes our board meetings because we have such a large board. And with the limits and the spacing that we have, we know at least for now, September is going to be a virtual meeting. And then we will readdress soon thereafter. I have to talk with the board president to get his feelings on September, but that's kind of where we're leaning towards right now. On happier news, don't want you to forget about the variety dress down days. I believe our first one is coming up soon, and I believe that's going to be, and let me just check my calendar. I think we have the first one identified as Friday, Friday, September 18th is our first variety dress down day. And even though you may be working from home, doesn't mean that you can't dress down and surely wear the button that shows your support of variety charity. So if you haven't signed up for that, we highly encourage you. We did have a wonderful distribution of bicycles and strollers this summer in July. Even though we couldn't do it during our All Celebration Day in April, we were able to give out a number of devices over the summertime. And if you were one of those who were able to and see that in person, it truly is a touching thing to see, kids and parents especially get emotional about their child receiving maybe their first bike ever and giving them that freedom. And so it truly is a special thing that we do as an organization. And so even though we are, in a partly shut down hybrid system, that doesn't mean that we can't still support that great cause that we have with Variety Charity. Also want to encourage you too, that as we continue to meet our goals, don't hesitate to send me an email at goals@wiu7.org so we can highlight all the great things that we're doing to meet our goals when it comes to our comprehensive plan, as well as we can't celebrate things unless we know about those things that need to be celebrated. So if you have celebrations to share, you can send them to celebrations@wiu7.org as well. I should have a long list if we're all together in April to share all of the different celebrations from the last 2 years. And so thanks again for sending those, because it does mean a lot to get those and share them and know all the great things that are going on with that. With that, I just want to remind you our next quarterly meeting is going to be Wednesday, December 9th. And we'll see what part of the roller coaster we are on at that point in time when it comes to if we're in school, if we're out, we're remote. I don't have a crystal ball, so unfortunately, I don't know where we're going to be at. But I do think that the next few weeks are going to be very telling to see how the Labor Day weekend and how if people followed guidance, and if they did, hopefully we'll continue to see numbers go down in Westmoreland County. All right. With that, that ends the Executive Services report. Do we have any questions from anyone that are joining us today that you would like to pose? And just feel free to unmute yourself or put it into the chat. All right. Yes, I can answer that. I did cut my own hair. So no, I did not go to Sport Clips or any other place. So yes, so for the individual who asked, I do cut my own hair, yes. And I can cut your hair for about $5 as well, if you want to get it shaved. Any other questions that are in the chats?
I would do that for charity, for the foundation.
Oh,
If you put up enough money, I would let you cut my hair.
oh, all right. Good to
Putting
know.
it out there.
All right, good to know.
Be sorry I said that.
Oh, yeah, you might be.
You're going to regret that.
Yeah.
Well,
Is that
I'll
a-
bick it.
Is
What?
that a Penn State portable fan over your left shoulder, Dr. Conway?
No, it is
Or
not.
Disney?
No, that's just a white fan.
Okay. Okay.
But I will now be painting the blades blue since you mentioned it, and it will become a Penn State fan.
Challenge accepted.
There are Penn State fans all around me. So, yes. Any others? All right, Susan is going to lead the collection for shaving and bicking Tim's hair. So, thank you, Susan. And notice Tim did not set
You're
an
welcome.
amount. So notice Tim did not set an amount. So it could be $1 and then he has to get it done.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to regret this one.
As long, Tim, as you get your picture done by that creek again, so we could see a before and after.
We'll go there. We'll do the haircut at the creek.
There you go. There it is.
Okay. Me and my
All right, anything else? All right, well, hey, thanks again, everyone, for joining us. And for those who are watching it on YouTube taped, delayed, don't hesitate to follow up with any questions that you might have. All right, everyone, I'm going to stop the recording now, which I should have stopped about 5 minutes ago.